Usman. So then I will start, inshallah, our session.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Brother Isa, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, Prof. I'm good. Thank you so much, Prof. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. Let's see whether the speakers are all around. If they are all around, we can start.
Inshallah.
If they are still on the way, then you try to get them.
Okay, Prof. Okay, Prof. Thank you, Prof.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullah.
Salam warahmatullah, Prof. Assalamualaikum. How are you, Prof?
Walaikum salam warahmatullah.
Alhamdulillah. To
Prof.
Prof Shukran.
Yeah, how are you,
Shukran.
Dato? I'm fine.
Nick, Saiful, and Prof Abdul Aziz. Assalamualaikum. And sudah tu Dr. Wan.
Ya Prof, betul. Alhamdulillah.
Wa alaikum salam wa
Prof Aziz, how are you?
Prof. Shukran, thank you so much for your time. You're so busy. I saw that. Thank you for
No
attending.
problem. Thank you.
So we are waiting for Dato Zamri from UM. Inshallah, then we will start very shortly, inshallah. Associate Professor Dr. Abdul Salam also here with us. So Alhamdulillah, most of our speaker already attended. Inshallah, very shortly we will start. Prof, may I start? I think our most of our speaker already in the Zoom. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Fauzi Zuhdi, Wafi Zuhdi. Thank you for attending. I think should I start now because it's already 9:10. I already have called also Dato Zamri. He's saying he's attending shortly. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulil Kareem wa ala alihi wa ashabihi. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Tonight is a very special night for our late Prof. Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi. The tribute and dua session on behalf of ISTAC, AIUM, and collaborated with ISTAC Student Society. I'd like to thank our Honorable Dean, our Excellencies, and also distinguished professor, speakers, and students of ISTAC and IIUM. The Prof. Zuhdi's son, Dr. Wafi Zuhdi as well, and also other lecturer, professors from the UM as well, and IRKHS, some of them also attended here, I can see. So with starting the dua, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. The subject of that is very important to all of us. Every one of us has to die. In this regard, Allah mentioned in the Quran, Surah Zumar, Innaka mayyitun wa innahum mayyitun. That everyone has to die, including the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself. Truly, thou will die one day, and truly they too will die one day. And also Allah said in the Quran, another verse, نَحْنُ قَدَّرْنَا بَيْنَكُمُ الْمَوْتِ وَمَا نَحْنُ بِمَسْبُوقٍ. We have ordained a day for all of you. We cannot be prevented. I would like to also read a short bibliography, even though Prof. Emeritus Dato Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi's CV and biodata is very big, but I try to make it a little bit shortened. Prof. Zuhdi, born in Kota Baru, Kelantan in 1945, his schooling was begun in 1950 under his own father's guidance in Madrasah Majidiyah, Kampung Payu Redang, Melor, Kota Baru, Kelantan. Additionally, during his secondary school, he studied in Madrasah Muhammadi Kota Baru, Kelantan as well. For his university, which is now called Academy Islam University Malaya, Prof. Emeritus Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi also as an academic figure and preachers in Malaysia. He is the chairman of the National Preaching Council since 2016. Also, Prof. Emeritus at the University of Malaya, Academy of Islamic Studies. He holds a number of Sharia-related degrees from universities, especially some of the university I should mention, namely Bachelor degree of Sharia from University of Al-Azhar and a Bachelor of Southeast Asia from University of Kent, England. Furthermore, he received his PhD in Sharia from University of Malaya as well. Previously, in the academic field, he holds the title of Dean Sharia faculty for the past 5 years, and shortly after, the title of Director of Academic of Islamic Studies in University of Malaya. He was a professor in Sharia at the University of Malaya since 1995, and then moved to International Islamic University Malaysia, IIUM, as a professor in the faculty in the Department of Fiqh and Usulul Fiqh in 2008, and holds that title until July 2016. During that period, he also holds the title of Dean at the International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization, ISTAC, and Dean of Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, IRKHS, IIUM. and he got awarded by University of Malaya with his title Professor Emeritus. Other than his services, he was contributed to many positions in Malaysia, especially, which is one of the committee member also was Fatwa Negeri Kelantan from 1990 until 2012. Panel Judge of Mahkamah Rayu Syariah Negeri Kelantan as well. Board of Member Dewan Bahasa and Pustakaan 2006 until 2012, and many more. And also he was positioning chairman of Majlis Dekan Pengkajian Islam from 2012 until 2014. Up until now, he had published more than 40 books and more than 50 articles. Without further ado, I call upon Emeritus Prof. Dato Dr. Usman Bakar to give his speech on Prof. Zuhdi. Prof, welcome.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad Isa. How long you want me to speak?
Prof, you may speak 15 minutes, inshallah.
MashaAllah, that's a lot. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Respected audience, in particular Professor Abdul Aziz, the Dean of ISTEC, and colleagues, friends, and students. First of all, let me thank the ISTEC Students Society for inviting me to speak at this special session in the honor of Al-Marhum, Professor Emeritus Mahmood Zuhdi, and also special the advanced session this evening. I just want, I think during this session, it might be a good idea if I said something that many of you, I think, do not know, because I've been a friend of Al-Marhum for a long time. During those days at the University of Malaya. Actually, I was acquainted with him when I was at the University of Malaya, and I miss him when he was at ISTEC. I had left ISTEC in 2008 to serve at the International Institute of Advanced Islamic Studies, IIS. So I just want to tell about the many good things that he did together with me when we were at the University of Malaya. I was at the time, I just became appointed to the post of Deputy Vice Chancellor of University of Malaya, in charge of academic affairs, research, as well as human resource. So those three things. So when I was appointed a post, one of the things that I had to do for the university was to reorganize and restructure several faculties in the equivalent of the Kuliah at the university, in the International Islamic University. So one of the centers or office that I decided to, with the support of course, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Al-Marhum Tan Sri Abdul Sanusi at the time. Yeah? So in fact, the restructuring was very important. Yeah? At that time, there was Department of Islamic Studies, which had been established from day one. The University of Malaya was established, the campus in the Kuala Lumpur. And then there was also the newly established academic this Islamic studies, Academy Islam, basically Islamic Academy. So the two were combined, and we formed the Academy of Islamic Studies. I was basically it was acting director for 1 year until we find the permanent full-time director, and that person was Al-Marhum Professor Zuhdi, Mahmood Zuhdi. And because of his appointment, and I was Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of the academic, so we work very closely together. So we saw each other quite often. So basically, precisely because it was a new setup, we divided the academy into 8 departments. In fact, the departments have not changed, and it remains until now. So basically, because of our common responsibility that we work together, and we try to work very hard. And what more, we also still have the Nilampuri, this part of the academy in Nilampuri, which serves as kind of the academy's matriculation part. I mean, we also work together to see that. So I came to know Professor Mahmood Zuhdi as a Muslim, as a Malay intellectual activist. He was an intellectual, but also activist, and the person who is sought after. He was sought after by many government departments, agencies, for his advice. So I saw him. He was everywhere until basically the last days of his life, before he started with cancer. But and he has served including the Sohakam, but besides the agencies mentioned by Brother Muhammad Isa just now. And I say that I knew him as a professor, as an organizer, as a writer, as a speaker. So I think it is fitting for him to be called an intellectual activist, well known. He was well known basically throughout the Muslim community, the Malay community in Malaysia. Although he came from the religious background, educational background, but he felt easy with the secular. In other words, this what we call this secular academic community. In other words, he didn't awkward. In fact, he knew well what outside the religious establishment. I mean, I think that is important. So he became the kind of bridge. He served as a bridge between the secular academics and the religious academics. That was an important contribution in the context of Malaysia. I understand that the representative of Al-Marhum's family, Wafi Zuhdi, is present here, and personally, I would like to convey this sense of great loss to his family. In fact, not just the family, the whole nation felt that loss because of his very, very significant contribution to the various organizations in which he was involved. So may Allah have mercy on his soul. May Allah place him in paradise. May he be remembered for his contribution. I'm sure, in particular, the Academy Islam, the Islamic Academy at the University of Malaya, has felt the most about his departure. And later, of course, IIEM himself. I know when he was the dean of the ISTAC, although I was not physically with him, I went to had to serve also in Brunei, but he quite often contacted me to discuss, asking for my opinion, my advice, and so we will continue to be close, even though he has left University of Malaya, but he came to the Islamic University, especially at his time. So may Allah bless all his good deeds, and I think that's enough. I need Brother Mr. to just my side of the story. You know, the I certainly felt that that loss, and I remembered during those days when we were very close together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, Prof. Emeritus, Dato Usman Bakar, for your great memorable history about Prof. Al-Marhum Zuhdi. And I just want to mention again his family member, one of his son, Dr. Wafiz Zuhdi, is with us. So he is listening, inshallah. All prayers and memories he is witnessing, inshallah, on behalf of his family. Now it is time to call upon our Honorable Dean, Professor Abdul to deliver his speech on Prof. Zuhdi. فليتفضل مشكورا, Prof.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Thank you, Brother Isa. First of all, let me thank Prof. Osman for his words of wisdom about our late Professor Mahmood Zuhdi, and also would like to thank all the scholars who are with us here today. We invited them to share their views and memories with our Professor Mahmood Zuhdi. I really appreciate this, and thank you very much for coming. And I thought, as the current Dean of ISTAC, when I heard the news of the demise of our beloved professor, I told my team, and we must do this kind of sessions to our professor, and not only to our professor, but in the future to all those ulama and scholars who contributed to ISTAC or to any of the kuliya in our university, and also in other institutions. We have actually, as Muslims and scholars, we need to instill this tradition of appreciating our scholars and our ulama, and talk about their contributions and what we can learn from them, and what we need to do to continue their tradition and their contributions. This is why this program comes, and I hope in the future, not only for IIUM, but for all other institutions, we need to appreciate and talk about the achievement of our ulama and scholars, not only when they die, but also while they are with us here. We have many scholars, intellectuals, ulama, each and everyone in his own merit. And I think IIUM has started this tradition of appreciating the scholars, and we wanted to continue this. Now, as far as our late professor, may Allah be pleased with his soul and grant him paradise, I came to know Professor Mahmood Zuhdi when I started my PhD program in the Academy of Islamic Studies in 1995, 95, 96. And he was the director then of the institute. And I really found in him a scholar, an intellectual, and a very nice gentleman and human who was very approachable and he is very there is no, and I talked to him, he always solved the problems with a very big heart and wise decisions. I really find in him a kind of a scholar, administrator, academic administrator, a scholar who in his own specialization really has his own independent ideas, independent ijtihad and views. And as far as my work as my PhD in the academy at that time for 2.5 years or so, I really find a big brother who helped, and I faced few things related to dealing with the supervision, and because of certain circumstances, and I was put in a very hard situation, but he solved the problem and he facilitated for me meeting my great supervisor at that time. So brothers and sisters, from there, I knew Professor Mahmood Zuhdi, and later on we become in contact, and always whenever I wanted to have something or to take his advice on any other thing, I will always go to him. And he is always, or he was always very receptive, very kind. And in fact, he helped me in many other things, which not necessarily to be mentioned here, but I conclude that he was really a good scholar, a good human, a good person in terms. And I remember all the international students who were there in the Academy of Islamic Studies. The late brother Mahmood, his brother actually at that time, he was the head of Department of History and Civilization, where I did my PhD. His brother also the same quality, the same personality, the same kind of people who were really very kind and supportive. I remember Prof. Zuhdi, any international student will go to him with any issue. You will always see his smile, and he always encourages. Sometimes the issue is difficult, but he will never say no, but let's see how we solve the problem. So during that time, many of my friends, colleagues who did PhD there, they have the same perspective, the same view about this great person. When he came to IUM and he became our colleague in the Department of Fiqh and Usul, we used to seek his views and his perspective on certain issues that sometimes we wanted to know from the perspective of a scholar like Professor Mahmood Zuhdi. I remember until he became the dean of the Kulliyah of Revealed Knowledge, and during his deanship, I was a professor, a lecturer and professor at that time. He was always very helpful, very facilitative, very supportive to whatever things. And I think somehow when he left the deanship of IRKHS at that time, somehow I was one of the people who recommended him to the top management to become the dean of ISTAC, knowing his, usul al-fiqh and fiqh grounds and foundations, and also his open-mindedness and his approach of wasatiyah, his approach of engaging with others, as Professor Osman Bakr just mentioned, and his exposure and his experience in academia, and later on with Sohakam and with many other institutions, made him really, I can say easily that this person is a man of wisdom, a man, though those who know very close Professor Mahmood, they will see that Professor Mahmood Zuhdi also, in terms of his ideas and views, and he is also very strong in advancing his views. Once he is convinced with one idea or one view, he will go for it and defend it. Maybe some people see this as some kind of strictness, but for me, I see it like a kind of seriousness and sincerity in advancing his views and his ideas. The last thing that I wanted to mention here, that Prof. Mahmood Zuhdi also, his writings, you see the depth of his writings and the way how he articulates his ideas and put the evidence and the vastness of his exposure to Islamic jurisprudence and usul al-fiqh, and his understanding of the manhaj of wasatiyah is very visible in his writings. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless his soul and grant him paradise and reward him for all the kind efforts and contributions, the writings, the books, the articles that he has left. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for each and every word that he wrote in those articles and in those books. And I also pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for all his kind efforts in this country, and for that matter, for the Islamic Ummah. And I consider myself, I consider him like my mentor and a person whom I learned from many things in his way of dealing with people, administration, management, student, and I in fact admire him very much, and also his brother Kamil, who was somehow very close to me. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless their soul, both of them. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Amin ya Rabbi. Thank you very much, Prof. Abdulaziz, for your kind words, and not only enlightening our soul, but it's even late Prof. Emeritus soul as well, inshallah. Amin ya Rabbi. Without further ado, we call upon Professor Dato Zainuddin, the Director of Academy of Islamic Studies, University of Malaya, who is also one of the late Prof's colleagues, and to deliver his speech. Welcome, Prof. Dato.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad Isa, as a moderator today. Distinguished Emeritus Professor Dato Dr. Osman Bakar, Professor Abdul Aziz Bagwet, Professor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman, and Associate Professor Dr. Abdul Salam Elias Zulkifli. A very good evening. I am really happy today for this invitation. As we all know, the late Professor Dato Dr. Muhammad Zuhdi Mahmood has contributed a lot in academic world as well as in the international circle. But however, I will just talk something about my experience working with the late Professor Dato Muhammad Zuhdi. I know him personally in 1992, as I was a director of Center for Asian Studies in Science University Malaya, and he was the pengarah, or he was the dean of the academic Islamic studies in the Simaya. So we met several times in the Senate meeting and so on. And what I find about him is he has vision that way ahead of most of the people. And when I was the deputy dean of Faculty of Science University of Malaya as an in academic sector, he came and see me and asked whether because he wanted the student or the graduates from Academy of Islamic Studies are productable or marketable in the sense that he would like to have a joint effort between Islamic Studies and the science faculty. So that was way back in 2001. So he asked me whether I have any program for that. So I told him there's one program that we can collaborate between academic science and faculty of science, which is Islamic astronomy. So so he told me, can you prepare the curriculum? See, he just asked me, can you prepare the curriculum? I say, why you want it in a hurry? Yeah, he said, if possible, next semester, I want it to be implemented. So how determined is a person, when he saw the opportunity so that the student in the academic science are marketable. Therefore, I told him I try my best, and it got really, inshallah, in 2002, in second semester, the Islamic astronomy program for undergraduate was the inaugurate in academic science, and Senate at that time approved the program. So since 2002, the Islamic astronomy program has for undergraduates has some sort of flourished throughout the time, and it's almost 23, 24 years now, and running and getting stronger and stronger. So that is one aspect that we should really, give respect and to the late Professor Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi. And then what is more important in this matter is what, as I retired from the University of Malaya in 2014, he was the dean of ISTEC at that time. So he met me in the university and asked me whether I would like to join ISTEC to help him to develop postgraduate astronomy program. So I told him I will do what if you want to do it, but you have to be serious about it. So he told me, if possible, you should build an observatory at ISTEC. But then, unfortunately, things doesn't go very well in ISTEC at that time. So he was somehow rather removed as a dean of ISTEC due to different opinion between people in the higher office than him, and we are not able to progress to build an observatory in ISTEC. That was the sad thing about the whole thing, that I am not able, to complete what I promised him, so that I can have an observatory in ISTEC. But then, because of the circumstances at that time, it was not really, I call it, favorable for us to build an observatory in ISTEC. And then, if you all sadly know very well that ISTEC was somehow rather being closed for a while. And that, and then the students are all replaced, and the lecturers or the professors in ISTEC were somehow rather put off to various faculty in UIA. So that is a sad thing. But what I really see this late Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi, he is very determined. When he says something, he wants that thing to materialize. That is how ambitious, how determined the person is. So for that matter, I really respect him. And as what Professor Abdul mentioned, right? He have a lot of ideas, and that we have to really focus on thing to do. We should not derail from what the task was given. Therefore, that's what made late Professor Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi a really respectable academician in the academic circle. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to highlight some issues that are related to Professor Dato Mahmood Zuhdi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Dato Zamri, for your loving memory words about Prof. Zuhdi. And I'm really sure that he will be very happy to hear your all these kind words. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Now it is the time it's come that we call upon Prof. Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman, Dean of Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences IIUM, to deliver his speech on Prof. Zuhdi.
Thank you, Brother Muhammad Isa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amin. Amma ba'd. Honorable Professor Dr. Abdul Aziz Barau, the Dean of ISTAC, Professor Dato Osman Bakar from ISTAC, Professor Dr. Zamri, Professor Associate Professor Dr. Salam, and all our viewers on Zoom or on YouTube. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant evening to all of you. So first of all, on behalf of Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, I would like to thank ISTAC for organizing this tribute session, and also for including us in commemorating or in registering our tribute to Professor Emeritus Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi. And I was made to understand that his family members is also here. So on behalf of the Kuliah, I would like to once again record our condolences, sincerest condolences to the family members of our beloved former Dean of the Kuliah. Professor Emeritus Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi has served the Kuliah not only as a professor, but also as a dean. He had served as the 11th Dean of the Kuliah, starting from July 2012 until July 2013. I did not have the chance to work under his deanship, because I think during that time I was in another agency. But I've been meeting him in informal session, and I've been listening to his lecture whenever opportunities came. My relationship, or my working relationship with Professor Mahmood Zuhdi, became closer when I started the deanship of the Kuliah. So this is when I referred a lot to him, asking for his guidance, asking for his perspective, and sometimes he also contacted me, asking me or advising me or suggesting me to do this and that. To me, he is a real scholar, an intellectual, an academic administrator, and also a good colleague. His enormous contribution is undeniable. He had developed the field of Islamic studies. As we have listened just now, it is not only in the University of Malaya, but also when he came to IIUM as well. He had also nurtured young talents or young scholars in IIUM. If I'm not mistaken, he was instrumental in the development of one research center, contemporary fiqh research center or research unit in that sense. So which is still active until today. He had developed many new associate professors, many new professors here under his tutelage. He had developed centers of studies. Just now we listened that he had inspired, he had spearheaded new programs. He had also substantiated a number of Center of Islamic Studies, right? And that is an impactful contribution to the field of Islamic Studies, to the development of graduate of Islamic Studies, and also to the development of scholars in the area of Islamic Studies. And very much he had been instrumental in advancing the structure of education system, especially in the field of Islamic Studies in the contemporary context. He had served Majlis Dekan, Pengajian Islam, and I think that is a very important platform or forum for all deans to learn from each other. And I believe by having Professor Emeritus Dato Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi in the Majlis Dekan had inspired a lot, okay, has inspired many new deans in the area of Islamic Studies. So as a respected figure, I learned a lot from him. Occasionally I called him, and sometimes he offered himself to come to the office. He came down to Dean's office, organizing meeting with us, especially in conceptualizing a conference. We had actually worked on a conference, but that conference could not materialize because of a number of reasons, including COVID-19. So he had conceptualized with us the international conference on madrasah throughout the world. So we wanted to look at how pondok system contributed to the development of society in Malaysia, in Asian region, in Balkan countries, in Middle Eastern countries, right? So all were set before COVID-19, but we could not proceed. So, but we hope that this working paper can be, revisited, can also be activated so that we can realize what Professor Dato Mahmood has inspired and has aspired. Although COVID came and we could not meet, but the relationship between him and us kept going. He created a WhatsApp group, so that is where exchanging of ideas continued to happen. And even Professor Dato Mahmood Zuhdi created a webinar or virtual forum whereby he encouraged us to share findings, to share perspective, and share ideas. I remember he wanted me to talk about Islamic Studies employability, or graduate of Islamic Studies employability, and through that forum, he gave his idea on how to improve Islamic Studies program so that Islamic Studies graduates are equally employable when compared to graduates of other disciplines. So on behalf of the Kuliah, so we would like to register our condolences again. I mean, our great loss of a scholar who had served the Kuliah, although for a short period of time, but it had come with great contribution to the development of the Kuliah and also scholars, students in the Kuliah. So I think that's all from me. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Prof. Shukran, for your kind words about our beloved Emeritus Prof. Zuhdi, and may Allah reward him and all our professors, those who work for Ummah and the nation, inshallah. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. With that, our last speaker, I would like to call upon Associate Professor Abdul Salam Zulkifli Muhammad Shukri from Abdul Hamid Abu Sulaiman Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences IIUM to deliver his speech. And in my knowledge, he is also one of the relatives of Al-Marhum Prof. Zuhdi. Thank you, Prof. Welcome.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much, Brother Muhammad Isa, as our moderator for this night sessions. Prof. Abdul Aziz, Dean of STEC, Professor Usman Bakar, also from ISTAC, Professor Dato Zamri Zainuddin, from University of Malaya, and Prof. Shukran, our Dean of Kuliah, in the Kuliah hierarchy, and also to Dr. Wafi, as my cousin. So Dr. Prof. Muhammad Zuhdi is my uncle here, Prof. He is the brother to my father. My father is the eldest one. The father of mine is Muhammad Shukri, the eldest brother to the 8 siblings. But coming from a different mother, different mother. There's always happen in the traditional society. But my grandfather, that is the father of Muhammad Zuhdi, is one of the guru pondok in, as you mentioned just now, in Kayu Rendang in Kelantan. Right now in Melur, right now if we travel to ECRL later on, the train will go through that village, so you can see. As far as, so I would like to thank for inviting me as the family member, as my uncle, that we miss him. This year, last year, we miss also another uncle, the brother to Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi, Dr. Muhammad Kamil Abdul Majid, and closing 1 year. At that time, during the death of his brother, I will see the sadness of him, because both of them, Dr. Mahmood Zuhdi and Dr. Kamil, very close. I was graduated from UM. During that time, Prof. Mahmood Zuhdi is the Dean for Faculty of Sharia. I was in the UM in 1984. Following the, what we call it, pre-academics Islam program for 2 years. 1 year in Kuala Lumpur, another year in Nilampuri. So during that time, I did not meet Prof. Mahmood Zuhdi, because in 1984 he was in Nilampuri. I was in Kuala Lumpur. Only when I was in undergraduate program, I met him. But I also very shy to talk to him because at that time he's the dean of the faculty. But I joined the faculty of Usuluddin, but also my uncle also is in the faculty of Usuluddin. So I cannot run away from both of them by joining the program in Academic Islam Istimaya. And I graduated in 1990. At that time, I also listened to Prof. Ismail Bakar talk, many talk of him. During that time, if I'm not mistaken, he did his PhD. Okay, and then for me, when I was want to continue education, Prof. Mahmood Zuhdi always support me. He sent me to the airport and give me what we call it, a jacket. You see this, and he give a lot, not just in terms of material thing, but also advice. So I see him as the contributor, giver, very close to everybody, I think, not just to the relative, family, and so, but to everybody still there. But one thing that that I miss him is that his lecture. So because I live with the students of him during my university time, So I always listen to my friend talking about what lecture that to give during this lecture. The subject, for example, sejarah pembinaan hukum Islam, very interesting. But I just I not follow the course. The only thing is that when I was in IUM, so I can, because now it's easy because everything is recorded now. One thing that I found during I think from my record here, we give what we call it a lecture, a Sharia lecture on Sharia study in UN after he got Emeritus professor in 2011. And then he said that in the lecture, I'm waiting for someone to invite me to give lecture, but nobody invite me. So he just offered himself. And then this lecture, I think he gave 10 series of lecture available in a few of them available in YouTube, but all lecture in Malay. So I think if we give a lecture in Malay, you will get a lot of experience from him from early childhood until his time. And fortunately also we have because it's not mentioned yet, he wrote the autobiography. He planned for 7 volumes of autobiography, and he finished with the 4th volume already, published by Ilham Books. The first called Budak Surau, the son of the Surau. Surau is a small place for worship. This is a place where he stay in Kampung Kayu Rendang. So because during that time there's a surau, there's a madrasah, as you say, madrasah Majidiyah is a madrasah owned by his father Abdul Majid. So madrasah Majidiyah. During my early childhood, I also saw that madrasah, but it's come to the end. Prof. Mahmood Zuhdi mentioned that he himself that stopped the madrasah when he returned from Cairo, from Institute of Azhar, because he said that this is an old-fashioned way. But later on, he realized that pondok is very important. That's why Prof. Shukran talked about pondok just now. And he also want to establish what he call it pondok perdana. So I think a lot of things that he want to accomplish during this short period of time. So as mentioned in the what we call in the his book autobiography called the last one that we can finish, called the title is that mencari identity, perjuangan tanpa noktah. So in search of identity, unending struggle. So I think he left a lot of ideas that that we can, as said by Abdul Aziz just now, we can copy, we can take lessons to advance further our struggle, because a lot of challenge that we face right now. I think if you want to get a lot of experience, I think this 4 volume of books can give us some sort of lesson, not just about his life, but a lot of idea inside the books. I got the soft copy of the earlier books called Budak Surau, the first volume, Mencari Identity, soft copy. He just posted in the WhatsApp group of our family. So we have a family group called Kayu Rendang group. So he posted that one, the first one, but the second one and the third one he did not post in the WhatsApp group. So I expect later on, maybe when I visit him, maybe he give the books. And normally he give his book when I visit him. But we didn't have the opportunity with the COVID-19. So rarely we meet, but only we see in the online program. A lot of program that he conducted, reading for example, readings Muqaddimah Ibn Khaldun, a lot of writing until 30 series, 30 series that he read the text and then explain the meanings and having discussion. Beside other lecture under Majlis Dakwah Negara that he is a chair until the end of his life. So I think a lot of things that if I go through all my record, yeah, I think a lot of things that we can touch. Maybe thank you very much for ISTEC Student Society for, I think, this as far as the contribution of my late uncle here, to this, as far as I remember, as far as IUM of ISTEC that conducted this program. I think we can maybe, I think our dean, for Shukran, can maybe arrange some sort of writing on him. Even a lot of writing of him, as I compile here, there is more than 30 books that wrote by him, begin with first translations and then his own idea, especially on how to implement the Sharia law in the country. That's, I think, the struggle in 80, long time ago, how to realize the Islamic law in the society. But the what we call it, the idea keep going on until now. I think this is part of our challenge right now, having to face with the Islamophobia, the pressure from the others like human rights. Then he also joined as Prof just now says Suhakam and so on. I always listen to him when the Shia also complained, and we did research on the Shia phenomena together with Prof Zuhdi, Prof Wan Azam, and this research by Jakir. So that's maybe part of a brief word from me as far as his contribution. Thank you very much. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very, very much, Associate Professor Abdul Salam, for your very heart-touching and also lovely memories about your beloved uncle, teacher, mentor, and supervisor, Prof. Emeritus Dato. With that, I would like to end our tribute session, and we will continue with the dua session and blessings to our Prof. And for reciting the dua, I would like to invite our Deputy Dean of Student Development and Community Engagement, Associate Prof. Abdullah. Before that, I want to say a few words for all distinguished professor and attendants. Thank you very much for allocating time to attend this valuable activation for our Prof. Emeritus Dato Mahmood Zuhdi. And may Allah bless you. Before that, I would like to ask Dr. Wafi Zuhdi, would you like to say a few words before we are moving towards a dua session?
Thank you, the moderator. Thank you also to Prof. Osman Bakar, Prof. Zambri, Prof. Abdul Aziz, Prof. Shukran, and also my cousin, Prof. Abdul Salam, for all the kind words and for all the memories that we have shared just now. We as a family also have been missing him. He's been passed away for, I think, 40 days as of today. Just to share some of the memories, I think as a father, he's a very gentle person, although he's very strict. And I think until to his last day, he's still the sort of the busiest man in the family. Although at his age, he's still hardworking, just to give some just to give some idea on how hard he worked. I think maybe a week or two before he fell very, very sick, he was still working on his writings and his books and everything. So as I think Prof. Abdul Salam mentioned just now, he has this autobiography book. He was planned for 7 chapters or 7 books. He has published 4 books. I think one more book is coming, Bintang Malap di Bulan Gerhana. So translated in English is, what is it? A dim star in eclipse moon, I think, if we translate to English. I think he's still working. He was working on that until his very last day. So yeah, and again, just thank you very much for Istad for organizing this, and thank you very much for all the speakers for all the kind words and everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. May Allah grant all of you sabr and jameel, inshallah. And with that, I would like to remember one hadith of Sayyidatina Aisha radiallahu anha. She mentioned that one day a man came to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked, my mother has died suddenly. I think that if she were able to talk or alive, she would have given some sadaqah or charity. So if I gave sadaqah or charity on behalf of my mother, will she get the reward? Then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam answered to him, yes, she will be rewarded for that. It's Sahih Bukhari and Muslim hadith. So by that, we have the legacy, we have the amana from all our professors that left us behind. So we should continue their legacy on the academy side, or any good deed that they were continuing and stopped by the left for us. This is the such an amana for us to carry on, inshallah. With that, inshallah, I will end, and I would like to hand the session to Associate Professor Nick Abdul Aziz for leading the dua, inshallah. فليتفضل مشكور أستاذ.
Thank you, our beloved moderator, respected deans, professors, Dato, and our colleagues, distinguished guests, and brothers and sisters. Let us pray to Allah to make our Al-Marhum in rahmatillah, blessing, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين. حبيبنا وسيدنا محمد الأمين المبعوث رحمة للعالمين، وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على نهجه إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما، وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما، ولا تجعل فينا شقيا ولا محروما، وادخلنا برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. اللهم إنا نسألك خير المسألة وخير الدعاء وخير النجاح وخير العمل وخير الثواب وخير الحياة وخير الممات. اللهم ثبتنا وثقل موازيننا وحقق إيماننا وارفع درجاتنا وتقبل صلواتنا واغفر خطيئاتنا، ونسألك الدرجات العلى من الجنة يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر لحينا، اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وعافهم واعف عنهم. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا، اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وعافهم واعف عنهم. وأكرم نزلهم ووسع مدخلهم واغسلهم بالماء والثلج والبرد ونقهم من الخطايا كما نقيت الثوب الأبيض من الدنس وأبدلهم دارا خيرا من دارهم وأهلا خيرا من أهلهم وزوجا خيرا من زوجهم وأدخلهم الجنة وأعذهم من عذاب القبر ومن عذاب النار. O Allah, forgive him and have mercy on him and give him strength and pardon him. Be generous to him and cause his entrance to be white and wash him with water and snow and hail. Cleanse him of his transgression as white cloth is cleansed of stains. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفيه على الإيمان. اللهم لا تحرمنا أجرهم ولا تضلنا بعدهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إن شيخنا المرحوم أبو زهدي في ذمتك وحبل جوارك فقه من فتنة القبر وعذاب النار وأنت أهل الوفاء والحق فاغفر له وارحمه إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم. اللهم عبدك وابن أمتك احتاج إلى رحمتك وأنت غني عن عذابه. إن كان محسنا فزد في حسناته وإن كان مسيئا فتجاوز عنه. O Allah, your male slave is need of your mercy, and you are not in need of this atonement. If he was pious, then increase him his reward, and if he was a transgressor, then pardon him. اللهم أعذه من عذاب القبر. اللهم أعذه من عذاب القبر برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم ألف بين قلوبنا وأصلح ذات بيننا واهدنا سبل السلام ونجنا من الظلمات إلى النور وجنبنا الفواحش ما ظهر منها وما بطن وبارك لنا في أسماعنا وأبصارنا وقلوبنا وأزواجنا وذرياتنا وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم أحسن عاقبتنا في الأمور كلها وأجرنا من خزي الدنيا وعذاب الآخرة. اللهم اختم لنا بحسن الخاتمة ولا تختم علينا بسوء الخاتمة. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منا. Thank you, Brother Isa. Please.